Hi there, this is Jim, the Keys bartender, coming to you from Key Largo. I'm here with Jenna and Tyler Kelly. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
This is episode 162 yesterday, or, well, I'm going to release tonight, because I said yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, was episode 161, and I did a recap of the first 160 episodes. Not very much in detail. I left out the lady that had her, Jeanette, the one that had her false teeth stolen. And Don Canary, her boyfriend, the guy that held him hostage. And there's a whole bunch of other things that happened, like special guests that we missed. But how long can you do a recap of the show and stuff like that? That was just to bring you up to speed. I think every 100 episodes we should do some kind of recap or something like that, maybe. Is that too often? If we go to 3, then it'll be every 200 episodes.
Well, it's kind of like the greatest hits.
You're right.
Right.
Yes, one of these days, like just a couple of weeks ago, we had blister bugs. Blister bugs look like lightning bugs, but if you smack them on you, their skin,
They have that like acid.
Some type of
and there's
stuff.
Like little body cavity.
Yeah, and it goes through a couple layers of your skin, and you don't even realize it till the next day.
It does.
And
it's
then
a
you
nasty
look,
blister.
Yeah, you look like you're a IV drug user or a leper, or have Ebola, AIDS.
They should call them Ebola bugs.
Ebola bugs, yeah. You look like you're fucking melting. That's
right.
That's
your skin's melting off.
Yeah, I told you what happened in Gilbert today, and all of a sudden I had all these sores going up my arm and stuff like that. I was going to the gym, and people were like, "What the fuck is your problem, man?" You know. So.
Because you got to swoosh and not smack.
Yeah.
Swoosh.
Well, there's people that live here their whole life that don't know about those bugs. That's a weird thing about it. I mentioned what?
Last year was the first time I ever saw them. And I didn't know what they were until...
Never seen him until last year after the hurricane.
Right, and he's lived here his whole life.
So, but I think it happened to me like 8 years ago, which, yeah, and I found out about it. And I talked to other people that, like you, Tyler, that came in, and I mentioned it to them, and they said, what the fuck are you talking about? And I said, they're blister bugs. They're only out, I guess they're only out for a couple...
Yeah, about an hour, maybe 2 at most.
I mean, but for a short time, like only...
Well, they've stuck around for a long time this year.
They're still around?
Yeah. I was actually, had one land on me this morning, I think, actually.
That must be scary if you were like a sunbather and you had it land on your junk and you started getting blisters there and you didn't know about the blister bug. And you didn't put 2 and 2 together. You say, oh, that's where it's... You know.
Not great. Time to go to the doctor.
Yeah. That's... When you have skin sloughing off your penis.
Or if you wait until, like, you go meet with your girlfriend or something out after a date.
Or your first date.
Yeah, exactly.
Your first date.
Yeah.
She reaches down and a bunch of skin comes off in her hand.
Ew.
Quickest way to ruin
Yeah, there you go. Good night.
I swear it's
Day's
nothing.
over. It's nothing. It really isn't. It's caused by blister bug. They're not real blisters on my penis.
But they are.
So... It wouldn't bother you if you were to put your... No, I'm not going to go.
Maybe you should call them herpy bugs.
Yeah, they're horrible. They're a cruel joke by nature. But they must be... I had an older gentleman come into the Catch. I almost said the Encore, where I used to work. They came in and he started talking about Everglades City. And he used to live there. And if you're not familiar with Everglades City, folks, it's a city north of here on the west coast of Florida in Collier County, not too far away from us, maybe it's 90 miles from Miami, because it's all the way on the east coast.
The city would be
the west
Naples,
coast.
Right? Like
Naples, it's south of Naples.
Yeah.
Way south of Naples.
But the county seat, I believe, would be Naples, just in reference.
Yeah. And Everglades City is, I think at their high point, had about 620 people. Right around now, they report about 420 people
Yeah.
in 2017.
The
It was 400.
2013 census
The 2013
was
was
402.
Yeah, I know. I saw one that said 2017 was 423 or something like that. And there were a fishing village until then. The National Wildlife, started putting restrictions on stone crabs and all that, to preserve it. There's a reason. We had this discussion before. I don't know. The reason they put restrictions on fish is not because we have an overabundance. If we had an overabundance, they wouldn't give a shit. Like no one has any qualms about taking lionfish because they're invasive species.
Right.
A lionfish, for some of the people who aren't frequent listeners, it's from the
It's a
Indo-Pacific region of the world, and there's no natural predators, though predators are becoming somewhat acclimated to eat them. Some of the hammerhead sharks and groupers are starting to eat them.
Well, now, if anybody doesn't know what a lionfish is or what a lionfish looks like, if you were to ever see like Deuce Bigelow,
Yeah.
male gigolo, and the weird guy, the gigolo guy that taps on the glass and has the fish in
Yeah.
that's a lionfish.
That's not a scorpion fish or anything
No,
like that?
that's a lionfish. So, of course, a lot of people had them because they were like exotic from a different part of, the world. And they would keep them in.
They're voracious eaters. They eat
Yeah.
young fish. They gulp them down. They don't have teeth. Just swallow them whole. And they'll go eat until they're engorged, and they can clean out a reef system real quick.
Well, they
So that's
also
why
are supposed to be excellent food, and it's excellent tasting fish.
they are delicious.
So a lot of people like to eat lionfish, although you have to be really careful about how you clean them because I believe they have.
It's not a neurotoxin per se, because it just gives you a sting, and it's severe. It hurts.
Right, they have
But
like a little
it's
poison
denatured.
pocket.
They have these spikes coming off them, long spikes, like God, what are those skewers you use for
Oh, like a
shish kebab skewers?
yeah.
They get, on the bigger ones, they get to be like 8 inches long, and that's the part when you stick your hand in it, it supposedly hurts. You feel like cutting your hand off, but if you get stung by them, if you put it in really hot water, it alleviates it, or put ice on it. If you get you put your hand right in ice, because either the cold or the heat denatures the poison. So, but that's taken away from Everglades City. Everglades City was established in it was around the Calusa Indians used to live there. I'm good at remembering stuff like that. And during the Civil War, some people migrated. It's 1873, I think. They migrated up to there and they settled in Everglades City and made it into a fishing village. And it stayed there very small. And there was an interesting story about it. It seemed like a doomed town from the beginning, because I think they built their first school in 1895, and a tornado destroyed it in 1896. And then the second one they built was destroyed in a hurricane in 1910. So Everglades City, and that sounds, far apart, maybe, 15 years, but it's not that far apart for to get hit. They get hit by tornadoes, and then 15 years later, the school's taken out again. But over the years in between, it was very popular. It wasn't, because Florida wasn't a big destination for travelers until the early 1920s. It was right after World War I, where they had there was a big land sale scam in Florida. They were selling swampland like crazy to people up north. It was a big thing. It was their Enron, who was the guy? Bernie Madoff pyramid scheme. They were selling land for pennies on the acre, and it was unusable land. It can't be reclaimed and shit like that. And there was, I think at one point, it wasn't until 1930 that Miami's a little over 100 years old. Miami was just a railhead for the railroad that came down, and it was a small town until Flagler started building the railroad there. Miami had this 100th anniversary just about 6 years ago or something, around that. give or take. So this part, the western part of Florida, was even more sparse. You had Tampa. Tampa got built up from the Spanish-American War because that's where they did all the staging for the troops and stuff like that to send to Cuba. So that's where Tampa came about, and Miami came about because of the railroad. And so for years, there was fishing going on at Everglades City, and then the population started filling out. And you started the 1920s, the 1930s, people started coming down to Miami, and you had Everglades City supplying southern Florida and further north with seafood. And then they had the restrictions brought on by the national wildlife restrictions, whatever, about controlling the fishing grounds. And you start hearing stories about in the late 70s that fishermen are being approached to by people on boats, small boats, say, would you mind helping us out? And they knew these fishermen knew the backwaters and stuff like that, and they started bringing in marijuana and cocaine. They had a unmanned airport inside it. The city is Everglades City is a little over, it's 1.13 square miles.
Yeah, this says it's 1.2 square miles, which actually means that the 400 people that live there live in really close proximity to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So they, at one point, they kept on more people started getting involved in the drug trade down there, where almost the whole city government was involved. And I think the year was 1983. 200 state, local, and federal agents came down upon this town of 600, and they arrested 28 people, and they took over half of the fishing fleet. They confiscated it, and it destroyed the town. Now, I'm not blaming the police force for destroying the town, because these guys were involved with an illegal activity, obviously. But when there's so many, if down here in Miami, on this side of Florida, when they started clamping down on the cocaine cowboys, Miami was a big enough city that when these cocaine dealers and smugglers and the middlemen and all the people that lived in Miami, when they started getting busted, it did ruin Miami, because Miami had a huge tourism industry, right? But Everglades City, to this day, is still kind of
screwed.
And I think, we'll go a little further. And there's a person that we're going to bring on, and we're going to get we're going to have him on the show, and he's going to tell us stories about what happened. But the one guy, the way he tells it is when the day in 1983 when the cops came and started rounding people up, he was sitting on his front porch watching everyone happen, get chased down, get arrested, and stuff like that. They closed off all access to the town. They had helicopters and all that stuff there, and eventually the guy that was watching, he was just waiting for them to come for him, and they did come for him eventually, and he got arrested. And matter of fact, I think the guy's name is Davis. One of the main guys' name is Davis. He goes by Clarkson right now, and he still lives in Everglades City. He's in his, I guess, mid-60s, and he runs the airboat rides around there, fan boats through the Everglades and things like that.
Drug smuggling to airboat rides.
Airboat rides, yeah. But he mentioned to some reporters that he was able to get some. I don't know how he would say this I don't know if he said it to a reporter, but he mentioned it to someone at the breakfast place that he was talking to some visitors, and one of the visitors happened to be a reporter for a magazine, or a writer for a magazine, and he mentioned that he took some of the money and put it in his kids' names, and it's divorced, so they didn't confiscate all the money. And if you ever get a chance to go up to Everglades City, it's very quaint up there, but it's a little run down, and it's never really came back. I don't think they invested a lot. You know, the cocaine money or the marijuana money. There was like millions and millions of dollars going through that town.
Probably buried in the
And then
swamp
one of the guys,
somewhere.
one of the guys mentioned that he couldn't take any more money because he had no other place to hide it. And that sounds like that American Made story, the one with Tom Cruise. And it looked like the kind of town that Everglades City was. I wouldn't be surprised if that was based on one of those stories.
Yeah, like on Barry Seal.
Yeah, Barry Seal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he was involved in that, but it was. But Pablo Escobar was more in the 90s, right?
Both.
Well,
Really?
when he hit it really big, and then they finally killed him in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
They had the Colombian special forces tracked him down. But that's South Florida and the
That
Keys,
was,
and we have our own. And I imagine
The
the Keys,
Joint Task Force.
the Joint Task Force.
Joint Task Force.
Oh, you saw the
I
hunting. It was called, the documentary was called Hunting Pablo,
Uh,
killing Pablo Escobar. I think that was the title
I
of it.
actually watched Narcos,
Oh yeah,
and I learned a lot of Spanish from watching it because it is all in
lay it
Spanish.
on me.
And it was just really cool. I actually was upset. when
Donde
he killed-
está la biblioteca?
Where is the library?
Donde está? What's it called? El baño.
That is the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other lines you can?
Right.
I'm trying to.
Well, it was actually, because you muerta, like that's why I was like, oh my gosh, and then that word just keeps sticking in my head because you just made us dead, And then when they would talk to each other, they'd be like, oh, you got to kill this guy, you got to do this, whatever. But it was really cool how they actually portrayed Pablo Escobar because he was really kind of the Colombians looked at him as if he was like a Robin Hood, that steal from the rich and give to the poor, and he really did give back to a lot of them. And
yeah, but he also brought down an entire passenger jet
Right.
full of innocent people
Oh,
to
absolutely.
kill one person.
But there again, a lot of the locals, I mean, they don't know all that stuff, and there wasn't social media and all that much stuff
Yeah.
back then. But a lot of the locals really supported him. They were willing to hide him. They were willing to do all kinds of stuff to help the guy out.
Yeah, but they didn't have.
And the crazy part is, like, he would kill a guy for being an asshole, but he would like not shoot. Like he wouldn't shoot a dog. Like it was weird how that worked.
Hitler was the same way.
Yeah, it's odd.
He loved his dogs.
Yeah.
I love my dog, but I wouldn't
But
gas people either.
I will tell
like
you
people
that
do.
watching the whole thing of Narcos versus watching the killing of Pablo Escobar or any of the other.
You seen how?
documentaries.
Did you see how they finally got him?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a documentary.
I
It was
watched
really
it.
interesting where the U.S. used technology they provided to the Colombians, and the Colombians used their special forces. They had special forces that they used. Actually, they used nepotism to get people because they couldn't trust people that were related. The guy that was commander of the special forces, his son was his executive officer or something like that, which kind of makes sense. You're not. Who are you going to trust? It was like the Untouchables.
Right.
Remember the Untouchables? And Sean Connery's nephew was the guy that when Al Capone put a hit out, or Robert De Niro as Al Capone put a hit out on Elliot Ness and his family. Sean Connery got his nephew, the character, the Irish cop, got his nephew to take the family away because he says, I trust him, he's my nephew.
Right. Yeah. Well, and Pablo's big downfall was when I believe it was his cousin.
Well, his son now
That was
refutes
killed.
everything he says.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his son apologized for all this stuff, and he said it was wrong. He understands it. He sees it. He's not resentful. I guess he's moved on.
Well, the crazy part, though, about when Pablo actually went down and after he was killed, he gave his wife, demands of saying, this is what to do if I die.
At one point,
And she went
they
to
had
the
him in a
Cali
hotel.
cartel.
They had him in a hotel. The government had forces surrounding the hotel, and his family was in the hotel. And they were tracking signals because he was talking to his son, his then 13-year-old son, on a satellite phone, maybe, or
Yes.
something like that.
Yep.
And they were tracking.
Picking it up.
They were picking it up.
Yep.
And then they tracked Pablo Escobar, and there's some say that there was an American agent was the one that killed him. And they also used right-wing paramilitary. There was the Los Lobos or something like that, or there was a gang of guys that were right-wing paramilitary, which, you know, it's funny with in South America, and it happens here. You get in South America, you had liberation theology. You ever hear that? The Catholic Church got involved in it, and they said, you know what? Rich people have been fucking around. And the Catholic Church was the first people to fuck around with people in South America, with the natives and stuff like that, when they started, the conquistadors came over, and then with the conquistadors came the priests. And they were forcibly converting all the Indians and stuff like that, and they were using that slave labor in some of the places to get all the riches back. And then they started colonizing it, and the intermarriage and all that stuff. And it was back in the late 70s, early 80s, the Catholic Church, some of the bishops started realizing, says, you know, we're supposed to help the poor, not subjugate them. So they started going against the right-wing governments that were also somewhat complicit in the drug trade. So it was, if you were anti-communist in South America, you got aid from the United States in the 60s and 70s. And a lot of horrible things happened and stuff like that. Now, I'm not right-wing, left-wing. But the left-wing people, the liberation theology, they started getting involved in drugs. Originally about, you know, Jesus and doing all this stuff. And they got in just as much as anybody. So when you ever hear about it, this is where I do understand left and right wing. I don't understand when people get all pissed off when they talk about socialist, communist. You got from Pol Pot, who was a communist, agrarian communist in Cambodia, and you got Fidel Castro and all this stuff. They were dictators. And then you got the right wing. You have Allende, you have Franco in Spain, you had Hitler, Mussolini, the Japanese during World War II. So there's a whole, both of those extremes I consider, if you look at politics, especially in South America and these second and third world countries, it's like a big circle. And the top one is where you have a representative democracy, where you have a party in power, and then you have a loyal opposition. They're not guerrillas. They don't have to go into the forest and fight. They just disagree, and that's what they do in parliamentary democracies and representative democracies like we have. But in South America, you had the hodgepodge of extremist left wing. Now it's left wing and right wing. Brazil went right. Venezuela's at the tail end. Venezuela just had, and we're in South Florida. There's a lot of Venezuelans down in Miami right now. They bought a lot of property, stuff like that, and these were people that were allies of the previous administration. And then you had this guy Maduro, who they just recently had a they just had a major power outage throughout the whole country. So they're having a power struggle, and that's the reason why oil prices are fluctuating, because Venezuelan oil comes through. Most of it gets refined up here. At least the stuff we traded, and we still traded with them for a while. Oil is funny business with that. We didn't get along with a lot of people, but we still would buy their oil. The only oil we don't buy now, we don't buy Venezuelan, Iranian oil. I mean, we buy when oil's on the market. It really doesn't matter. It's the world supply, and this is where we talk about prices and stuff like that. And we're in South Florida. We're near a lot of oil, right, where it's refined. Right and left-wing governments have provided to us. There's plenty of oil. It's just that when the world market sees a glut, they drop the price. When they see a shortage, they raise the price. And when they raise the price, people start watching their oil thing. And now with the advent, I know it doesn't change what you guys, because you're boat people, and they don't have the electric motor up the par for the boats yet.
They actually are coming a very long way. My brother-in-law is...
Oh, they're 5-6.
Yeah, he's trying to convince us to put solar-powered motors in our yacht.
Yep.
Rather than go diesel or gas again. And
Yeah, that's going to change the whole game.
Yeah.
Any disruption in the oil market is only going to drive the electric vehicle revolution. And when I say vehicle, we got motorcycles, we have mopeds, obviously cars.
Yeah.
China, I did a little research on this. China has over 300,000 electric charging stations. Geographically, the mainland China and the lower 48 United States, same size. We have 66,000. They have 300,000. China's really big on that. People don't really understand that. That's going to be...
Well, wasn't there somebody, I think it was back in the 30s or 40s or 50s, that actually created a motor that ran off of water?
Well, this Stanley steamer. There was a steam-powered one. You mean where they separated, where they used electrolysis to separate the hydrogen and oxygen?
I believe so, and then I guess government or somebody got wind of it and actually shut him down.
We're going to save that for a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Because that's a conspiracy.
Well, it is.
Conspiracy is not, conspiracy, just don't take it. When I say conspiracy, it doesn't mean they're false. Just
No.
some conspiracies are real,
Yeah.
and some are
Imagine
crazy.
the effect on the oil companies.
Yeah.
You know,
I,
that's big companies.
Right now, it's almost over when China's spending more money on research and development on electric vehicles than they are using for oil exploration, and they're not looking for new oil markets anymore because they figure they have some of their main automotive company right now is now coming out with 12 different models of electric vehicles, where American lines have like one or two of the major ones. But Tesla, and there's a couple other ones. We got to really catch up.
That's the other thing is Tesla. I mean, Tesla is making tiles for your house that are solar panels.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time before they come up with something that
Windows. They got
is
the
a
next
solar
one,
panel to where you never have to charge it.
The problem is that you need more space right now to capture the right amount. We had this discussion on there, and to have photovoltaic paint or whatever, and then have the glass.
Yeah.
There's a glass block they use that they can capture, convert energy from the sun. But Florida is somewhat catching up on it. We're the Sunshine State. You figure the places like Florida, Nevada, New Mexico, California. Well, California's there.
Yeah.
California's almost there, and eventually, and people joke about it that you're not going to be able to get your investment. No, it is only getting more efficient. Batteries are getting better.
Yep.
The ranges are 300 to 400 miles now on vehicles. The charging time is the quick chargers now can get up to 80% in less than 30 minutes of a charge. So that's a rest stop and a bite to eat and use the bathroom, and then you're outgoing.
Yep.
Where we're starting to see in our neighborhood, up until 2 years ago, there was only one charging station.
Publix.
No, there was only one charging station in all the Upper Keys, and that was at Baptist Hospital.
But Publix, everybody's been curious about what's going on at our Publix. They're putting in charging stations.
Yeah, and they're doing it, and they have it at Sundowners, one of the restaurants.
Well,
but you're going to see.
I have a feeling they did that just because they bought Teslas and needed somewhere close to.
I think that's a great.
Vehicles.
No, but that's you know what? That's the reason.
But there's not that many electric vehicles.
No,
out
but there's a
there.
lot of
But
people that travel.
Jenna, do you think? Let me see. I'm going to ask you a yes or no question. Are electric vehicles selling more and more each year?
I'm sure.
Is the pace picking up, or is it staying the same?
I don't know.
What do you think? If I told you the cost,
Well,
the
here's
ownership
the thing.
cost,
I would
the
think
ownership
the
cost of an
ownership-
electric vehicle is, let's say, for fuel and all that. Let's say it's drastically lower at this time. Right now, it's lower with the Model S from Tesla, and there's cars coming from China, and Volvo has one coming out, and there's some of these foreign manufacturers are thinking instead of introducing one model, they're going to try to introduce eight models. That's a big deal. When you have 8 models and they look at the cars.
Look at the price of the car.
Yeah.
Look at the price of the car.
You know how much does...
see if the cost of ownership...
How much does an Enclave, a Buick Enclave, which is like my Equinox, it's $28,000. Right?
Okay.
$28,000. That's not an electric vehicle. That's a
Right.
internal combustion. A cheap... What's a moderately priced mid-size sedan cost nowadays? 27?
25, 27.
Yeah, we didn't get it 35. You can get it now. That Model S is 35,000.
Right, but okay, so if you were to take the price of, let's say, a Prius, right?
A hybrid?
Yeah, like a hybrid.
The hybrid's the worst thing in the world. You know why? Because both engines are underpowered.
Well, absolutely.
That's the problem with it.
But
now,
you're paying more because they try to sell it to you as the cost of ownership is less. But it's absolutely
the
not
electric
true.
vehicle,
especially if you're
hybrid's
financing
done.
it and you're paying interest on it.
Hybrids are done.
Well, in 2018, Ford came out with the Focus Electric,
Yeah,
and the price tag on that one was starting at $29,000.
Which
$29,000.
which is ridiculous.
no, but it's getting in the range where it used to be 80,000, and now Tesla's talking. Their original cars were 80,000. Now they're in the 30s. Now they're in the 30s. That's a drastic drop, and they're just
And how much?
If you look at it, the luxury.
Replace them?
You don't wait. You don't have to replace them as
Absolutely, you do.
no. You don't have to replace them as frequently as you think you do now. They're not. They're over 100,000 miles.
Which for some people can be like 5 years. So if you're using it as a commuter car and you have to replace all of the batteries in that
Do you know
car
what kind of
every-
maintenance goes? Do you know
every 5 years.
how many oil changes you have to get for an electric vehicle?
Oil change is different. You have to change the transmission fluid.
Okay, no,
And it
but you know
depends
what?
on the transmission that's
no,
in
no,
that
but
car.
I know, but do you know what you don't have problems with those vehicles? Transmissions. There's no transmission.
Well, there absolutely is a transmission. It doesn't just drive by itself. There's
No, there's
still-
no transmission because the transmission transmit the power from the motor to the wheels.
Right.
The engines are directly near the wheels. That's the reason why you don't have a compartment with an engine in it. There's no engine compartment in an electric vehicle. The engines are. Do you know that? Electric motors are on each wheel. That's why you got the even torque. You don't have transmission. You don't have gearing.
Yeah, and then what's the chance for failure, and what's the warranty that they
No
offer?
failure. You know how many pieces they
There is
have?
absolutely a chance for
You know how
failure.
many
It's
pieces?
metal
No,
moving
when you have,
parts.
let's say there's 15,000 parts in the average vehicle, right?
20.
20,000 parts?
Absolutely.
And you know how much in an electric vehicle? Under 1,200.
And when they fail, how expensive it is to replace. And
I'm
how
just
long
saying
of
they
a-
have enough vehicles out there. They
And
don't
how-
they show the maintenance costs. There's proof now. We have people that own them. There's friends of mine that own them. The only time they have to take them in is when they get in an accident, like any car every so often gets in an accident. Otherwise, there is no maintenance.
Electric motors they're not a lifetime motor. They will still
Electric motor life, it's the battery you're talking about. The electric
well,
motor
right,
can go
but batteries,
300,000
electric
miles.
motors,
There's
I
still
don't-
moving parts, all that stuff.
Yeah, and
you
anything
know.
can break. Anything can break.
Anything can break, but it has a lower
And
chance of failure.
what's the warranty? What's the manufacturer's warranty? Are they giving it 10 years? Are they giving it 100,000 miles? You know that's
I'm just saying this is the argument of someone that says, you know, I understand, but internal combustion, believe it or not, the electric vehicle is not moving forward, and there's not more manufacturers because it's a less efficient vehicle. Motor-wise, the engine in an internal combustion car is much less efficient than the conversion rate from power from the energy that you put in to the motor, and the output is much more direct. It's higher than 50%, where in an internal combustion engine, it's much lower than 50%.
well, you have a lot of horsepower draw when you're transferring power from an
And the
internal
mile
combustion
and the
engine
per
to
mile
transmission.
cost is about a third.
Now,
When you charge the current for a high, even expensive electricity.
I will tell you, I've been a motorcycle dealer for 20 some years now.
Yeah.
When they tried to introduce electric,
They tried. They are coming.
Oh, yeah, I know. There's a company called Zero,
Mm-hmm.
and none of them would run right. The battery life was just absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous. And then you try to program them and change them so that you could actually get a 60 mile an
Look
hour
at the first
top end.
internal combustion engine when it first came out. They used to fail all the time.
Absolutely, but these things are computerized, and they can easily. I mean,
Cars are computerized now.
you can. Well, the internal combustion part of the motor is still an internal combustion motor.
Yeah, but it's the firing of it is controlled by the
That's
computer.
been that for a very long time.
It's
That's
not.
been
It's
since
not.
they
It's
have
not a
coils and
distributor
ECUs.
anymore. It's almost all fuel
Well,
injected.
of course not. The distributor and fuel injection have nothing to do with that part of it.
No, but I mean the distributor cap was the one that controlled the firing.
Well,
That's why you had a timing there. There wasn't a computer.
The distributor determined the timing, and the cap placement determined when the distributor would hit each one to give it spark.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about coils and ECUs, right? A coil pack is what tells it when to fire, and that's controlled by the ECU, which is the electronic control unit, or ECM, electronic control module. That has been out for a very long time.
Okay, all I'm suggesting is that from now on, the growth of electric vehicles are going to dramatically. The purchase of it is going to dramatically outstrip.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason why there's 66,000.
I think that they're Blu-rays. That's what I'm thinking. No, I'm sorry, betas. They're betas.
These are betas.
Everybody got on the beta trip for a while. Instead of having a VHF, they got betas. Everything's going to be beta.
You think the internal combustion engine is going to establish a big comeback?
I think that the internal combustion engine has never fallen. It's done nothing but progress. It's got nothing but better.
No, it did not. Efficiency-wise, it's a little better, just a little
It's
better.
a lot
In the
better.
last 10 years,
And the weight?
in the last 10 years, the range on an electric vehicle has quadrupled.
Well, possibly.
There was 80 miles in the first Volt.
But what
I
about?
think-
But what about the convenience? You know, and then you have a
What
problem.
convenient? What's more convenient than being able to fuel up at your house with a
Yeah.
fast charger?
Well, yeah, you know, I can drive my car for a month without putting fuel in it. That's not even what.
Because you live less than a mile from your house.
Look,
I mean, from
even when I run
you work
some
less than a mile
errands and
from
do
your house.
whatever. But the biggest thing I think about the electric motors is that they any electric vehicle whatsoever is that they have to price them low enough to get people interested and see whether or not they will actually be efficient enough for them to use. Because
They're already there, I believe it. They're already there, and I believe, and in places like China, if you were going to buy, and I did my research on this, in Shanghai, the privilege to drive a car in Shanghai is $12,000. The Chinese waive the $12,000 fee because of for electric vehicles, because they don't contribute, at least locally, to pollution as internal. In China, that when in those cities where you're in Beijing, that's why they had those. They have billboards with the sunrise on it because people couldn't see the sunrise, and they would put that there. They would show screens of it because you had the whole brown, that smog overlying Beijing.
I mean, many big cities have a smog issue. You know.
They won't. The ones that.
But if they were going to do electric anything, and try to,
There's a couple cities.
In
a couple cities in China, 99% of the at least one thing. Huacheng, China, 99% of the vehicles, the taxis, are now electric vehicles.
Well, I was going to say taxis, public transportation, buses.
Taxis are on the road all day. So
but-
if anybody has to refuel, that's often. And the legs are getting better, the batteries are better, and I still say, maintenance-wise, you save a lot more money, especially when you're talking about these new vehicles coming up that are priced below at $40,000 and lower.
I just think that if you're gonna try to come out in the market and wow everybody, and that you're gonna actually come out with something that you're dealing with old school people, you're not gonna find a 16, 17-year-old tree hugger, okay, that can afford to buy their own electric vehicle. So they have to try to convince their parents.
Let's see. Let me explain this to you then. How much is a Porsche can go from 0 to 60? Let's say 4.8 seconds.
No, the transfer of power of the electric motor is absolutely. I mean, I'm not disputing that at all.
I know, but if you want
performance,
performance, right now, the Tesla performs as well as any high-end
right.
sports car, and it's cost a hell of a lot less.
$70,000-$80,000.
A hell of a lot less than a Porsche.
Yeah, but still. I mean,
No, well, not a Model S. Do you know how much?
I just looked it up. I have it on my phone right here.
You know, Tesla.
Tesla. Well, that's just one company. Volvo's
And-
coming out with a 40,000.
2018.
Have a fender bender, you'll be on
Yeah,
fire.
the Model S.
Tesla Model S is 67,000.
Which one?
It says Tesla Model S.
Okay.
It's 67,000. That was as of 2018.
Okay.
But then you compare that to the Mercedes-Benz CLS, which was at 75.
Yeah, and the cost of ownership for the Tesla is less. Though,
Yeah.
In the
So,
end, is less than it.
but
Just-
you know, I just even at me, you know, I wouldn't see myself going in towards a Tesla, you know, at $60,000. You know, it's a certain market. You know, the other vehicles that they were comparing, which was a Chevy Bolt,
Mm-hmm.
which is an electric vehicle,
Yep.
was priced at $26,000. But you compare that to the Toyota RAV4, not either kneeling cars,
Yeah.
or that one was just shy of 25.
Yes.
So, you know, if you're
If you drive 15,000 miles a year, let's say, right, and you get the RAV4 gets 37 miles a gallon, right, and the price of gas is, you know, it's heading north again, $3 a gallon. How much? You know, 15,000.
got my bottle, babe?
And that's 500 gallons, $3 a gallon. That's 1,500. You
Yeah,
can
I mean-
fueling a vehicle for that 15 electric vehicles, $500.
Well,
So you got
for the-
1,000 less. You're
No,
already
I agree. Yeah, I agree. You know, fuel to electric pricing. You know, yes, there's a difference there. And
Yeah.
it's
Unless
substantial.
you have electric with Florida Keys Electric Company, and then you're going to pay 4 times as much to charge.
Actually,
your-
no. The Florida Keys Electric Company, believe it or not, the price is. I don't know how much do you pay a month. Let's say.
Usually $100, and then we hooked up an ice maker, and I just got my electric bill today for $233.
Okay, well, mine's
I mean,
mine's
ridiculous.
about 100 a month,
Right.
Which is not a lot when you run the AC all the time. It's really not that much.
Right.
It's
Well, my
really
other
not-
house was 103,
our prices
and
are.
this one was 233.
Well, prior to that, prior to that
Ice
ice
maker.
machine,
Because that would be just
was
as
that a
efficient
good
as
deal?
plugging
Was
in
it a
my
good
car.
deal? Was it a good deal? Before and $100 a month?
I got ice on demand, and we're not buying bags at the store.
No, was it a good deal?
Well-
Meaning the electric before you hooked up your ice machine, was that a good deal? What
Yeah,
you paid?
$100.
$100 is good.
Yeah, $100 is good. But
We have a very good system
But
down
what's
here.
the cost of charging your vehicle at home?
Believe it or not, you can see it. You can. They have the numbers.
Yeah. But you
It's
know,
less.
and it goes.
It's
just
less
goes
than a
back-
gallon of gas.
It goes back to the market of what they're trying to
To
appeal
fuel
to.
your car, to get, let's say you go one of these chargers. I'd be surprised to get, let's say you have a vehicle that gets 300 miles to a charge, right? That would be on a very economical, high mile per gallon car. Let's say you get 37 miles a gallon. That would be 8 gallons. Be where the price is running it right now, a little north of $20. It would cost you less than $10.
I would still beat an electric car out of the state of Florida by the time it caught up.
Not at fast charger.
It doesn't take me 30 minutes to stop and pump.
You got to stop and
17
pee.
gallons.
You got to stop and pee every time.
Not necessarily. I mean,
And you know, and they're
I get-
15-minute chargers and stuff like that. You
he's
should be
pretty
getting.
hooked on this electric car thing.
Oh, well, it's a way into the future.
Funny, by
It's
the
a-
way.
it's the future,
Sorry,
but they're
not
sorry,
hovercrafts
listeners.
yet.
Please comment on
It-
the podcast. It's not very funny today.
It is funny.
This is
It
not
is
funny.
funny.
But
It
they're
is
not
funny. I'll tell you it's
hovercrafts.
funny
We were supposed
because
to
it's a
already
wave of the
get
future, and it sounds like someone defending a Zeppelin.
Oh my god.
It sounds like someone design. You know, Zeppelin travel. No, these airplanes.
I'm gonna talk to Marty McFly and see what he thinks.
These airplanes.
He'd be
Well, you know what?
disappointed
5 years from now, 5 years ago, it was an anomaly to see electric vehicle. It was strange.
Where's our hover cars?
No, but 5 years ago there wasn't. Right? Same thing with cell phones. I saw in 2001, let's say less than 50% of the people had cell phones. It was considered a luxury. 2000, 2001, and then, you know, you had bag phones and all that shit. But within 4 or 5 years, how many of that? Now it's going to take a little longer, but I'd say within 5 years, 30% of the vehicles, and mark my words, I'm saying this right now, it's March 27th, 2019. By March 27th, 2024, 30% of the vehicles in the United States will be electric. There will be...
You're saying on-road vehicles.
Well, okay, and to prove another proof point, there'll be over 400,000 charging stations in the United States.
I don't
You know how many
disagree.
charging stations
You know,
were?
I don't disagree, but again, you have to go back to the market that you're appealing to. You know, as a fresh driver, 20 years old to 29, 30, where I'm coming up to, you know, for me to go and jump behind the wheel of a Toyota...
They're not. It takes some time, but it's
Yeah.
moving in that direction. It's not boring.
I would still like my
It is not boring.
2019
This is
Honda
what the
SI
keys
compared to
Yeah.
a Toyota electric car or a Focus, you know.
Next year, you know what? My next brand new vehicle will be an electric vehicle. I have friends that only own electric vehicles now. They have two. They're 2-car families.
Do
And
they
they're
have
both
dreadlocks and use natural deodorant and smoke a lot of hemp? I'm just curious.
It's not like that at all. The matter of fact, the guy voted for Trump. The guy that owns 2 voted for Trump and will vote for him again. So the hemp, and he doesn't smoke any weed, and he only drinks white Zinfandel. White Zinfandel,
And of course,
and he
Mr.
doesn't
Tyler is a bad
smoke
choice
any
right now.
weed. I don't think he smokes any weed. That's very.
To be
You know-
honest, I will never... I don't think any
You'll
electric
never?
car will ever appeal to me.
Can we jump to something else that I think is
But
really
5 years? No, well, actually, we're almost done.
Really?
56
Okay,
minutes.
so let me bring this up, right? So my brand new car is a 2019 Honda SI Turbo,
Yeah.
right? Which it's fun and it's fast and I like the way it sounds.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go as you drive down the road because it actually has noise. And
How's that bad?
I'm just saying, I like it. I think it's cool. And it's a 6-speed. And every vehicle we own, aside from our Ford truck, is a manual transmission. And all of my children own manual transmissions. All of them can drive them. My one of my middle sons just passed his
They
CDL
don't
class
make an
A.
electric manual car.
Right. Yeah. Right. So
No, you're not.
therefore,
They're
I
not
like-
going to be one. It's kind of ridiculous. It's like
I
making.
like being able to determine which gear I am in and what my RPM is. I like having the control over my vehicle.
You have direct control in an electric
Absolutely.
vehicle by
And-
hitting that pedal, and when you take it off the
Nobody
pedal,
can
it takes
steal
the
it
energy.
nowadays.
It takes the energy. It
And-
takes the energy from braking and regenerates it into back in there. You know, when you your
Okay,
vehicle
Mr.
right now.
Prius. Anyway, here is the cool part though, right?
Ma'am,
People can't drive sticks anymore. So you got thug after thug driving around trying to steal cars. They don't steal my car. They don't know how to drive it.
do you
They
see?
don't steal his car. They don't know how to
Do you
drive it.
remember? Do you remember fucking Road Warrior and all those movies? You never saw Road Warrior?
Yeah, back when they were car.
You never saw Mad Max, Road
Yes, Mad
Warrior,
Max, yeah.
Thunderdome?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, all those things. And what
Come on,
happened?
give it a
What was it?
chance.
There was a couple vehicles left over, and what were they fighting over? The last remnants of fuel and stuff like that, because no one's really
Oh,
extracting
goodness.
it.
Listen to this.
So what happens if failure and stuff like that?
Yeah.
What happens if Y2K actually happened? You ain't driving nowhere in your Prius.
Wait a second. If you have solar panels, there's no reason why you can't recharge. You're not going to be manufacturing your own
Well,
control.
You
You
would have
will
to have
have to
enough
be
battery banks
You
to
will
be
have
able
to
to
Yeah.
store
be
that
smart enough to adapt those solar panels to actually recharge your ion lithium batteries.
and store the power for it.
Okay, yes, and they will.
Yeah.
And they have home charging
But
units
if-
and stuff
if-
like
if
that.
we're
No, yes,
talking about
technology
I
has
Am
become
Legend,
a far
right?
away. Yes.
No, but I'm just, it's funny that younger people, we're having a debate, younger people, and I said it, and I think I was conservative when I said 30% of the vehicles in the United States. I was going 30% in 5 years will be electric vehicles. And what does that mean? In 10 years, over 50% will
Okay,
be.
so let me just bring one other point up for a minute. Electric vehicles have to be recharged and plugged into your house, a charging station, whatever, right? And that electric comes from a grid. Where do you think that electric?
which is coming more and more from renewables. And actually, if you watch TV, How many panels did Florida Power and Light just put out? Like 30 million panels they're putting out.
And if you drive through Iowa,
I believe supposed to drop your bill down like $12.
Yeah, but that's the beginning.
No,
it's always
yes,
the beginning.
There's
There's
no doubting it. Yes, we are going to be,
someday it's all.
substantially-
Listen, years from now, if we get to do this, we'll have a laugh, and you'll say, "I'm sorry, Jim. You were right.
No, you
it's
know
an
what I'm
electric
gonna
vehicle."
do is I'm
You're going to say, "Look at all the new." No, there won't be.
I'm
The
gonna
highest end
splash-
vehicles will be electric.
Yes,
I'm
there's
gonna
no doubt.
splash
We're
salt
not
water.
arguing
And trucks.
that fact.
I'm going to splash salt water on one wire of his car, and it'll get the green death, and it'll never run again. And that's what'll happen. You live on an island. You can't.
There's no doubt electric vehicles are going to take off. Yes.
Wait a second. I told you about my buddy. He had his vehicles down here. He has 2 electric vehicles down here, and he lives near the water.
Right. I'm saying if you actually get them wet,
He lives up.
you actually get
Any
of
car
them-
gets wet.
Any of them get wet.
And your engine compartment gets. If you get water inside your engine compartment,
Well, if you get salt water specifically,
Yeah.
especially in an electric vehicle, you can't boil it out. You can't boil out like.
what do
we
you think it's going to be in the gas tank?
It's-
There's no gas tank.
If it touches a battery terminal, it touches a wire.
They're
anywhere.
enclosed.
Enclosed
They don't
in
have
what?
to be.
It's
They don't have to be
waterproof?
exposed.
It's waterproof.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What do you think? Why? What electric? What do you do with? What do you think the cables are?
Jim is not as much of a gearhead as we are.
No.
So therefore,
You don't know
we
about
think
electric
that-
vehicles.
We actually think about every possibility that.
No, electric vehicles. Wait, terminals and almost
So the
cables are covered with plastic
Yes.
and rubber.
But
And
the
it- and they're
connectors.
waterproof,
All right,
right.
so in your electric
you think there's-
vehicles,
do you think there's-
connectors. Yes,
yeah.
so, there's connectors. You're
Yeah.
not passing wires through a firewall and then soldering it into a battery in
No,
the
but you
car.
can cover that all up. What's the big
I'm
deal?
sure you can, but you'll always there's air that'll get in there. There's humidity. Everything will get in there. Now here on our watercrafts and our boats, we have what is called a Deutsch connector, which is an electrical connection with a rubber gasket. That is
Yeah.
the highest quality thing that is out there right
Yeah.
now, and that is the number one thing to fail on all of these. So no matter what, you're always going to have an electrical connection that's going to get some kind of humidity or moisture, salt air in there, and it's going to start corroding.
Oh wait, speaking of another guy, the guy had a MAGA banner in front of his house. Not lying. I think I know the guy's name. And I'll bring him on. As a matter of fact, he disagrees on everything. He
What just happened?
believes Hillary ran the child sex ring at the pizza shop and all that stuff. He believes all that stuff, but he owns 2 Tesla vehicles, and this isn't the other friend I'm telling you that's a
All
contractor.
right, so when he
That's
owns
gonna-
his Tesla for 20 years and he hasn't had to replace batteries or electrical wires and all that stuff, then we'll talk about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll do that.
I'm
5
just-
years.
I'm just saying, my
20.
2000
And then we'll
Ford,
look, and
I've
next
never
year,
had to change
and next year
anything
we'll
on it.
just see, and then we can see that let's say if there's 100,000 charging stations in the United States, or 150,000 in 1 year.
We're not doubting that.
So what does that mean?
We're doubting the fact that they're the greatest thing out there. They're going to have their issues.
I'm going to say
They're not long enough.
gas stations. There'll be at one point there'll be no new gas stations built. There'll be no new gas
So
stations.
electric's going to put out big oil companies.
No new. I said no new. The existing fueling stations for internal combustion have been built and they're done.
Yeah.
Okay, they're still out there. There's not going to be a huge growth
Oh,
in
yeah, no, they're not gonna
in
build new
internal
ones everywhere, no.
combustion engine. There'll be no additional research in making it more efficient.
What's going to end up happening is they're going to get in touch with those companies and start putting charging stations inside the gas stations as well.
Oh, I agree there, but no, actually, charging stations don't have to be.
No, but that's the
they
way
don't
they're
have to
gonna make more money.
No, the best way if you're a charging station, it takes that within 3 years, it's going to be 5-minute, 80% recharge. Okay, where you can stop into a convenience store, hook up, 5 minutes, plenty of time to charge up. You go in there, get your coffee, go to the bathroom, go out, car's charged up, ready to go.
I
And
bet
that's the way
our
it's gonna be.
boys- I bet our boys right now are really hoping that they could just stop and plug in their U-Haul for 5 minutes and keep on driving. They're in Georgia now. They're on their way back to Wisconsin.
It's just the way things are going to be. There's going to be trucks
I
too.
don't
They're
doubt
Tesla,
it.
Tesla's
Not
building
doubt it.
trucks.
Let 'em.
They're building trucks. They're building buses and all that stuff.
I'm
We're
excited.
not
for
doubting
them.
that.
I'm excited for
We're
them.
just-
What
We're doubting that they're not as great as they seem to be.
They are great. They're better.
They're
They're better.
to an extent.
They're better.
You can't
Again,
argue
when
with
you're-
him.
when-
No, you can argue. You
can't
can
argue
argue.
with him.
But I just say,
But
how
when
do
your buddy's
you think
Tesla
it's going to
is
get
15
better?
years
How do you
old,
think
let's see
it's
how much money he's had to
2
put
years-
in there.
these guys? Well, I know this one guy, Conaho. He's had it for at least 6 years, a Tesla of some form, and the one time he had to get it totaled was because some guy pulled out near the Marriott courtyard and hit him. Hit him in the side. That, and the one thing they don't do is they don't repair those vehicles. They total them. So, and he has a new one. So, very few people that buy those go back to ICE. Very few.
I just don't.
And wait, and the people that buy them,
vehicles.
where do you think they drove before? Most of the time, it had to be internal combustion because there was no electric, right? So people that had them, the people that drive them now had to, as of 20 years ago, had to drive a regular vehicle, but now they're driving this. So it's
Here's the
people
question,
converting from internal combustion engine to electric vehicles, but there's no movement to convert people back, is there? At least have
Where's
that.
Rolls Royce's electric car? Where's Bentley's electric car?
They don't have it. That's super high end, yes. Because that's the conspicuous consumption. Jerry Seinfeld just sold a classic Porsche or something, I think a Jaguar, for $1.5 million.
But if
and he's got
because they're cool.
But if Teslas are so awesome and such a great way to go, why aren't the higher end companies jumping in on it then?
Ford is spending $800 million.
That's Ford. I'm talking
That's
about
not
Rolls Royces.
Oh well, that they're not the vehicles for the people. They're the vehicle for the 0.3% of the people. They're not the ones you're not going to have a thing where you have Bentleys. You're not going to see a highway full of Bentleys and Jaguars and this. The vehicles that are out there are going to be Toyotas, Fords, Hondas, GM, and Tesla, and that's when 5 years from now. And you know what? I like taking a point where I may be on the unpopular side of it, because a visionary very, very rarely has. If people see something and say, "Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense," then it's a foregone conclusion, isn't it? If everyone agreed on it.
Yeah. No,
if they said, "You know what? Clean air is a good idea," and stuff like that. But there's a way to generate electricity through renewable. But there's very rare. Can you generate clean air using fossil fuels? Can you? Is there a way? Is there clean coal out there? Is there clean oil?
I'm sure there could be.
But are people spending money on that?
Well, you can't, because big oil companies won't allow it.
Spend money to make it. Why wouldn't oil companies want to make, if they can make a zero emission vehicle?
Think a gas or a diesel car don't run as long as they should, because they don't make them as efficient as they can be.
You're saying that's the argument?
Reliable.
You're saying they don't make the engine as efficient?
No, it's not efficient.
No, if you make it efficient. No, they try to make them as efficient as possible.
Reliability is what I'm getting at, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. No, he just used the wrong word.
No, because you have exhaust systems that fail and all those things. And it's but you know what? I love doing that. We would be no discussion if you agreed with me. Of course. If we agreed, then it'll be circle jerk.
Cost of ownership is still not.
I disagree.
I absolutely will challenge that. I'm a finance director.
I challenge you on that. I challenge that with a similar car of similar quality with the same kind of interior and all that stuff. Yeah, and over the course of 5 years.
An average credit over the course of
5 years.
7 years, because
7 years, that's even better.
No, that's actually much worse on your side.
No.
Because of the interest rate over a longer period of time.
I'd say the cost of fuel would be
the interest that you would pay versus the top line price over the course of 7 years. Take an average interest rate of 6% over the course of 7 years, and you tell me that it's not double the price that you're paying for the car.
No.
Absolutely it is.
No.
You take a $60,000 car loan at 6% interest over 7 years, and you will pay double for that car.
I'm still holding on to that $40,000 baseline for the Model S mid-model. you're talking about the long range model. If you look at, and that's
Yeah, the Model S last year was $60,000.
2019. It's 2019. It's not 2018. And the Model S is coming online, and they have three levels. They have 3 levels right now.
Do you drive a stick shift?
No.
Do you know how?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't understand how that's a big and because in stick shift, the thing that fails most in that is the transmission eventually.
Absolutely not. And a manual transmission does not fail near as much as an automatic transmission.
Your clutch plate.
backwards on there.
Yeah.
If you abuse it, and that's a day of you doing it yourself and $50 part.
Okay.
It's generation. It's also appealing wise. I would much rather jump behind the wheel of a stick shift and have fun than jump behind an electric car and put it on insanity mode, haul ass for a couple miles, and then be down 25%.
You know what? No one goes for how long? Did you say insanity mode going up? Insanity mode is just for acceleration and stuff like that. It does burn a lot, but once you get up to 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, it's consuming.
You've never driven a 6-speed cars down the road then.
Okay, so.
Well, because you never know. Wait a second. If you cars down the road, what if something comes out in the middle of the road? You're doing 100 miles an hour.
You take.
Okay. There we go. Can't
just,
argue with that. Can't argue with that if you're willing to take your life and someone else's.
You're going to have that risk if it's an electric car or a gas
it's just
car.
the thrill.
Well, I'm not saying I wouldn't. Well, you're right.
Being
Going
in
100
that
miles
kind
an
of
hour.
car.
Okay, so cost of ownership. Okay, let's say that you.
Where's your source?
Well,
who's your source?
It's an amortization schedule.
Okay.
So my source would be math.
No, but the cost of ownership, meaning your fuel costs and all that stuff.
No.
Do you got to factor that in?
Just vehicle.
Goodness.
Just purchasing and not driving.
So if you were to finance $60,000 at 6% interest on a 7-year loan, that interest will cost you nearly $14,000. So your cost of ownership on that vehicle after you're done paying your payments of $876 a month for 7 years is $74,000. It would cost you $74,000.
Okay, now I got to go. Now you're going to make me look. Now you're making me.
This is just buying the car. We're not factoring electric cost or
fuel.
Okay, so you're just giving up on anything I said about $40,000. You're just going $60,000.
Well, you guys were talking about a specific vehicle.
No. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so let me.
What is? Okay, let's get
2019.
Folks.
Tesla.
All right, so if we do 40,000, sorry guys, playing with my computer.
Cost.
2019 Tesla Model S, MSRP $76,000.
Come on. Tesla Model 3 is now the best-selling luxury car in the United States. Tesla launches cheapest Model 3 yet. Model 3. Okay, geez, I got the wrong designation. God damn it. You guys. Is it Model S or Model 3?
Well, S is running at $76,000.
No, that's the S. You said S.
Yeah, that's what you told me.
I know. What's the electric car for the masses? Still a select few.
Model 3.
Okay, so if we re-amortize...
42.9. There we go, God damn it. Okay, because I made a misnomer of the thing. $42,000, which is completely within the thing. See, I made a mistake.
Right now, and I'm talking to Steve.
Okay.
Anyway.
No, wait.
So
Steve, wait a second. If I call you... I know who you're talking about right now. God damn it. Why would you do something like that?
Because. Okay, $40,000 on an 84-month loan.
Why would you get an 84-month loan? Why? Where is this 84-month loan?
Because that mortgage, that monthly payment is $600.
Why would you get a?
Would you like me to switch it?
Yeah.
I'll switch it. What would you like it to be?
You're going to pay the car off in what, 5 years?
Let's appease. So, your $40,000 car at a 5-year loan at 6% interest has now cost you $46,399.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $6,399 in interest, aside from your taxes, title, insurance, right, and everything else. Okay, so that's just $63.99 in interest.
Yeah.
So that car that you just paid $40,000 for has cost you dang near $47,000. Okay, and if you want the comparable car with an internal combustion engine what would the price of that car be?
Going back to
The brand new car that
What
I
if,
just bought.
and what if I said that the fuel cost was $1,200 less a year?
Well, possibly, but but let's go back to the price difference first. Start with top line to top line, and then
Yeah.
that's where you make your difference.
But you're
So,
not going to compare. You can't compare a Model 3 to a Malibu.
Okay, I have a brand new Honda Civic Si Turbo, right?
Okay.
Which I paid $21,000 for.
It's not the same vehicle, is
Why
it?
not?
Isn't that a small sport vehicle and stuff like this? It's a
No.
four-door we're talking
It's a
about.
big 4-door with a turbo in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I paid $21,000, but obviously I'm a finance director, so I negotiated my price,
Mm-hmm.
which most people should. So, just in the interest cost, if I were to have put zero money down and financed $21,000 over the course of 5 years at 6% interest, then I would only be paying $3,300 in interest, not $6,300 in interest. So there's your $3,000 difference right there.
And there's $6,000 interest in fuel costs over that, and the maintenance cost.
Possibly. But total that the car has cost me.
And resale value at the end.
Is $24,359.
And resale value at the end.
Resale value all depends on your wear and tear, and it
Resale
depends on if
value
you
at
smoke
the
in
end.
that car. Depends on if you have little.
I
kids
know.
in that car.
Baseline to
I'm a
baseline,
dealer, so
same
people,
person,
I don't
same
care
person,
whatever they
same
do,
same
right?
same person owning a
So-
resale. It's just like trucks and cars, right?
My $21,000 car just cost me $24,359
And what
instead
can you-
of my
yep.
$40,000. So I have paid literally though another $20,000 to have a car. Right? If you're going after
Well,
the
you're
Ford-
comparing a Model 3 to a.
to a very high-end Civic Si, yeah.
I mean,
But this is what I'm saying. So now
I
I
don't
also
know.
have a
I don't-
So,
Lexus.
all
I
right,
also
so
have-
we'll go
it-
into comparable models. So a Chevy Bolt is $25,995.
yeah,
And a Toyota RAV4 is $24,510.
yeah.
So you're a little over $1,000 from combustible to
Yep.
electric.
And I say you'd save it in fuel costs and maintenance.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So you're there.
Okay, but a Bolt
And it's
versus
actually-
a
and I-
RAV4?
And it actually has better
Very
performance than a RAV4.
Then again, you're straying. See, and it just goes back to.
And then wait until they come up with the trucks, because the towing capacity of some of the trucks are going to be a hell of a lot more than like the Dodge Ram. So give me
I'm
5 years.
just saying. I saw the supposedly release pictures of the Tesla truck.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but that thing is completely and utterly hideous.
It's the first one. It's just like any vehicle that comes out the first time, the Model T, the Model A.
I'm sorry,
and
you
they're changing.
can't take a Honda Ridgeline and over the years that thing is the ugliest, and it will always be the ugliest truck.
I know, but they'll change, and the towing capacity will be higher.
On an electric?
Yeah.
On a long haul towing with an electric, you're going to draw more energy.
Yes, you will.
I'm just saying, they're doing the trucks and all that stuff. They have tractors and all that stuff. They got the Tesla trucks coming on there. They're going to do it. They're going to.
We'll see.
Listen, we're there. I made my predictions. You made your counter arguments. You made your counter arguments, and they're
5 years from today.
admirable. But we were stuck with the 60,000 one, and when I brought it,
That's what the model you said.
no. But I would have to compare. I would compare the Tesla to a Cadillac, like a CTS or something like that.
Are those electric?
No, ICE. And I think that's. I think the pricing. And it's actually one of the worst selling cars right
I
now.
actually think that if you were going to do
If I was doing a comparison,
if
that's
you were going to do a straight up comparison, I think
Alright.
you would have to go
Here's
American made versus
then
Japanese.
that's why I'm doing
Because
Cadillac.
you can't
Going with
say
that. Right.
Tesla and then Cadillac is an American made vehicle, and they are not as reliable as a lot of people think.
Okay,
they
no,
are.
look, just
Tesla Model X.
not a Model X. The
But
Model.
no, this is comparable to what they're comparing
Yeah.
to. Tesla Model X is $72,000.
Yeah.
A Porsche Cayenne
Mm-hmm.
is $65,700.
Mm-hmm.
So those
Yeah.
are comparable models.
You're also
Yeah.
dealing price wise. You're talking about because
Yeah.
a Porsche Cayenne is an SUV.
But they're comparable because the X is the SUV.
X is their SUV.
that's-
X is their
SUV.
SUV.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 72 on the Tesla X to the 65 Porsche. So
And the cost of ownership be about the same in the end with when you have everything at the end: maintenance, fuel, and the credits. And the reason why they have credits is because ICEs put out pollution, and we worry about pollution.
Always never-ending battle with everybody. You know, electric versus all this stuff. I mean, you're never going to be able to convert everybody.
Oh, it will eventually, because there will only be.
So I'll get fined for.
I mean, no, wait a second. There are still Amish people out there with fucking carriages and horses.
I want a carriage and a horse.
No, okay. Well, there you go. There's proof right there.
And they're also given their 1 day a year
yes.
when they turn 18.
No, it's not 1 day. They have all the time in the world they can do it, actually.
To venture off.
Yeah, it's called a rumspringen.
Yeah, rumspringen. And how often do they actually come back?
Rarely.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, why do they do that? Because they moved ahead to the future. No, because they went to the future. The future for them was the internal combustion engine. But you give someone the option and drinking, having a good time, getting laid, and all that stuff.
I am so looking forward to
You're Amish.
My horse.
That's your problem. I'm talking to two Amish people.
Poop on the way to work tomorrow is what
I think I'm talking to Amish people right here. But I didn't expect you. I don't want you. You know what? I am not hurt.
Because we're spending an extra $120 for our ice maker. We're still Amish.
We're Amish. That's okay. You know what? Maybe my horses will get hot. I could just put some ice around.
Yeah. The Amish stick to their horses. You know what?
Oh my God! Look, we're finally getting funny again. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, listeners, for the Keith Comedy Podcast.
Well, wait a second.
There was nothing.
I said it is a conversation you have in a bar, and this is the same fucking conversation you'd have in a bar.
But by now, I'd probably have 10 shots.
I never
No, we have more. You guys, your problem is you guys aren't drinking enough.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
You're not drinking enough. You didn't even have another beer.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I got to drink some more.
I want you to disagree with me. It makes my victory in the end more sweet.
You know what's really funny is that sometimes you just disagree with them on purpose just to get a rise out of them. So
I didn't think you got a rise out of me. Did you? Do you feel? Wait.
Listen, I'm not denying.
I never got up and worked out. I told my co-host one time, I said, when he mentioned he was from Newtown, and I said, pedophile, and he walked off the show.
I remember you telling me.
He walked off the show. I will never walk off the show, and I will stand my ground, as I expect you to stand your ground.
You know, I'm very proud of you. I'm so tempted to put in a charging station outside of my house.
I will get. No, you're not. You're just fucking around. But you know what? Someday,
let's
you know.
Wait until like the first Tesla becomes an antique and see how many people are out there trying to bid on an antique like that. The resale value.
That is so fucking stupid. Buying antique cars. Wait a second. To spend more money on something old than when you could get something brand new, and then you got to spend a shitload of money to maintain it and not fucking drive it and not fucking park it any place because you can't. You can't park it any place.
The barn.
I mean, when you go, oh my God, they are beautiful. Oh my God, those antique cars are beautiful. Oh, are you 1960s? Yeah, the muscle cars and all that stuff. They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous vehicles. I do not argue, but you will not drive that every day. When you baby it and you take care of it, when they put those cars up for like $70,000, $80,000, $120,000, they originally cost $2,000, and now they're you know why? They're museum pieces. You know what? A piece of shit pterodactyl. You know what I mean? If we were in whatever period that was, what's that, Jurassic period, and there's a fucking pterodactyl coming down, I would fucking, if I had a cannon, I'd blow it out of the air. But if a pterodactyl was flying around now, I would say, holy shit, we got to capture that motherfucker.
So I wonder,
you know what I mean?
And show it. From now, a Cavalier is going to be like
a Cavalier. Oh wait, I'll tell you.
Vehicle that
a Cavalier. They made a Cimarron. You ever hear of the Cimarron? Yes. It was a Cadillac built on the Cavalier body. It was a Cadillac built on the Cavalier body, and they put some interior stuff on stuff. They put the same fucking four-cylinder. They put a four-cylinder engine in it and stuff like that. It was a piece of shit. But they made it a Cadillac
had, like,
economy.
I just don't see an electric car holding their value down the road.
I'm just saying. Remember, subcompacts. Why did subcompacts come about? Subcompacts came about.
They're ugly.
Why? Why did they come about?
Because they want an SUV, but they also want the practicality of a
A
smaller vehicle.
subcompact. It looks like a car that you backed into a brick
Why
wall.
do
They're so tiny.
why do people get those?
Oh, like a smart car that
Because
never took
they're
off?
cheap.
And let's say, remember the Geo, the Chevy Geo?
Well, they have the
Because they
Geo,
got 48 miles a gallon.
The Geo Tracker.
And they couldn't go over 57 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And they couldn't go over 57 miles an hour. You took your life on the... And they had that idea. Why did people buy them? They wanted a new car. Maybe they wanted a new car and they only wanted to pay $7,000, $8,000. Okay? Or they didn't want to spend a lot for gas. Now, if I told you, someone that said, listen, you can have a very nice car and not pay a lot for fuel, I think, and you know what? You have zero emissions from the vehicle. Obviously, where coal-fired plants are still being used in the United States less and less each year, there have been no new coal-fired plants built. There's an example right there.
Fine.
Coal-fired plants. You know why? You know what we have a shitload of in the United States? Coal. We still have a shitload of coal. Why aren't we using it? If it's there, why aren't we using coal? There's my
It's
example.
just like drilling off our coast here. It's all out there. The oil's out there, but nobody wants to do it.
Why don't we use the coal?
Environmental issues,
Exactly.
which I understand that.
It's an answer to a problem. It's an answer to a problem. And it takes a while. This is why I like the people that disagree with me.
You really should look up the efficiency of a wind generator.
Well, right now, we would be generating a shitload of electricity
Really
because it's
weird.
windy as fuck right here.
I know.
And we're on a canal. I can't imagine what it's like to be on the water right now.
If anybody's ever driven through Iowa, that's all you see is wind generators. There's like farms of them. And I call them blowhards. I'm like, look at the blowhards. They are some of the most inefficient machines ever. The guys that work on them or do the maintenance on them, I mean, they have to bring tubs and tubs of grease, which are made from crude oil,
Yep.
and all the crap that they have to do to maintain these things.
It's just the baby steps, the beginning
Right.
baby
And
steps
it's-
of a new technology.
Right. Well, of course, they really need to.
No, I mean, I see you got the thing of that, and I know you know that you're intelligent.
They really, really.
It's
need
the
to
beginning.
advance
It's the
that.
beginning of it.
And it's a gateway for them.
Yes.
It's great. It's a great gateway.
And I mean, you
But
gotta do
they're
the beginning.
Horribly dangerous. People die working on those things all the time, and it's crazy the amount.
Well, wait a second. Just as the new power plants and getting coal.
Yeah. Okay.
It's funny that you're talking about that dying. Retrieval of coal from the earth. Thousands of people
Right,
die
they
each
get
year.
stuck in the mines. They do
Each
linemen.
year.
Do you know how many linemen get electrocuted every year?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. But you're dealing with
Because you have
so
high
many-
levels of, well, right now, this is where maybe we can all agree on something. After Irma, the Keys Co-op got us back online. The cable didn't come back quick. The water, you didn't?
Okay.
How long was it?
Keep
Took a
going.
line? Within a week.
Okay, yeah.
Within a week.
A week.
That was pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
After a major hurricane hit the Keys.
What was the cost?
Why are you making...
No, I know.
of
It's just
people coming into work to do all that?
Well, you make an omelet, you got to break some eggs, man, and stuff like that. They're still getting Puerto Rico online, And I could point to a country named Venezuela, where they're having power outages throughout the whole country without a major disaster occurring.
Good thing you don't have an electric car there.
Yeah.
Well, no, then if you're smart enough in Venezuela, you'd have your own setup with your solar panels and stuff like that.
I apologize.
I don't think so. I don't think that was facetious. I think it was a weak argument.
You know what?
So after buying-
no. You know what it is? Is that the
After
neighbor
buying your
guy,
Tesla
right?
Model 3 in Venezuela, then you have to buy solar panels for your house, which is a huge cost. And then you have to find a conversion to store that into batteries in your house.
Hey, you know
The
what?
the Tesla home battery system.
You might get a $3 tax credit for having solar panels.
I think I'd donate it more to Goodwill
Yeah.
and help out a ton of
Why
others.
wouldn't you want everyone to have solar panels?
You know what?
I
Actually,
love solar panels.
Why wouldn't you want everyone? Why
don't
wouldn't you
want an
spread?
electric car.
Why wouldn't you spread the reduce the load on your main power grid by having people generate portion of their electricity?
I mean, why don't we generate 90% of it from the sun?
Yeah, why not?
It's a resource that's always been
It's there.
And I mean, our boat runs out
You
of
can
solar
use.
panels.
I bet there's a way of growing plants underneath panels because in the desert, let's say, where you can use the shade as part of the thing and the sun, and part of the sun that they helps grow the plants and reduces the amount of heat on the plant. And you can do something. You can combine that. You could desalinate water to hydrate the plants.
I'm all for solar.
Oh, me too. Me too. Solar.
But you'll never get me behind the wheel of an electric car.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you, and I believe in 5 years I'm going to have you behind one.
No.
I'll have you behind the wheel of my vehicle.
I love
You will.
the solar
You will.
energy thing.
Wait.
I'll take it out for a spin.
How the fuck are you going to drive it unless you're behind the wheel?
No, like he'll
You
drive.
said behind the wheel.
He'll drive yours.
I'll drive one.
He'll drive yours.
Okay.
But I won't own one. There's no way.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I let you drive it up Cartown Road because you say you're going to do 120 miles an hour.
Listen,
James Dean.
my POS,
That's all right. Or
my
Jan and Dean.
POS
They both
2000
went
Honda
that way.
Accord 5-speed is my baby, and I can still take that down the stretch and do 100 miles an hour and have the time of my life.
You know what? Maybe you shouldn't say the model of your vehicle. Definitely don't say the license plate on there because they're just going
my license plate.
Yeah, don't give your license plate
I'll
out.
tell you what it is.
Wait, they know. Wait, I just said your name.
You know, I have to tell
and
you.
I'm sure they can
I've
track.
had plenty of speeding tickets.
I have to tell you this little tidbit of
We
a
did an
funny
hour and
story.
20 minutes.
I know. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right.
This is really funny. Okay, because obviously my first husband, the father of all the boys, flew down to help the twins, Mike and Matt, move back up to Wisconsin. So as we're following, and we're in my car, and we're following Tyler this morning over to the kids' house so they can get loaded up. We lock up so we can wave them goodbye. Paul, my first husband, right, says...
Wait, can I backtrack just so they know?
Yes.
Jenna's twins.
Yes.
I mentioned on the show yesterday that Jenna's twins moved back to Minnesota.
Yeah, Wisconsin, yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yep.
Oh, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Close enough. It's right over the border.
Where's your mom?
My mom is in Minneapolis, and so is my sister, but we lived in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
So just over the border, just right over the St. Croix River.
Cheese country.
So, yes, exactly. My oldest son works at a dealership in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Okay.
It's just over the border. Anyway, so the boys are going back to Wisconsin. And their dad flew down to help them make this drive back. They have a big U-Haul with a trailer on it, and my old car, which I gave to my youngest twin, and then they're driving the other new Civic back. So as we left breakfast, we took them out to breakfast this morning, so we could have a little bit of time with them and hang out with Dad too. And Tyler and I both, had to kind of go in late for work. Well, Tyler is driving in front of us, and we're going back over to the kids' house to drop them back off, get them ready for the U-Haul, and leave. And Paul, their dad, says to me, he goes, "What's with that license plate?" And he points at Tyler's license plate on his truck, which is his Seminole license plate.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, that's for FSU. That's for Florida State University. I said, but I give Tyler a lot of shit about it. He was like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if that was your alma mater, I can get how you support the Seminoles. But when you majored in drinking for 1 year...
I don't have the alumni plate.
When you majored in drinking for 1 year and never actually graduated from that particular university and have a bunch of student loan debt, I don't really think that you should be driving around with that license plate. And Paul got a really big kick out of it.
You know what? I understand that you have teams that you appreciate. You have a
but
faith in. I understand it, and I understand that part. I do not sponsor. I do not advertise. I don't use my person or my vehicle as an advertisement for any entity
right
that does not contribute to my well-being. And that's why you may find a Rotary sticker on my car. It contributes to my well-being on my soul because I get to give back to the community and other views I have. That's it.
But I went to private school, so obviously there's no alma mater plate for me to put on my vehicle. And
what do you mean? Why is there one for a private school?
Not a private school in Minneapolis. No.
Why not?
There just isn't.
I guarantee you there is.
It wasn't a state university. You don't have all.
They have.
But it doesn't
anybody
matter
can make
to
one.
me. I'm like, I don't care. I don't. It doesn't matter to me where I went to college.
Where'd you go to college?
But I went to private school, and I was a big nerd, so I skipped a lot of stuff and finished all of it very early.
Really?
Yes.
Well, how old were you when you went?
I did a post-secondary program.
Yeah.
So instead of going to
this is new
7th grade, I went to ninth grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Totino Grace,
Yeah.
which is a college preparatory school in Ridley, Minnesota. And then, of course, the last couple of years,
You were like 14 years old, 15 years old?
Yeah, and then I was a student teacher, and I...
How old were you when you were a student teacher?
Yeah,
17?
17.
You were a student teacher at 16, 17?
Yes, but I taught German, and I did woods and metals and basic auto mechanics. And
She's a nerd.
little bit of a nerd. Little bit of a
lot of
nerd.
it.
That's amazing.
And then when I graduated high school, I had enough credits to also get my...
Honestly, we didn't fucking do enough background here. We got to
So-
talk about this on the next...
Yeah.
Hold it. Cut it
Anyway,
off. Save this
cut
stuff.
me off, cut
Yeah,
me off.
I'm going to cut you off from there. You know
Right,
why?
right.
Because
So
we're going to do a whole
So
new show
all the
next
younger
time.
gentlemen out there, find yourself an older, very, very, very smart
Savvy
woman.
and savvy. Financially savvy.
Financially, definitely, because I'm
Financially
not at all.
savvy. Oh, my God. Hardworking. Hardworking.
But our favorite phrase for her is she's a dude with boobs.
yeah, I'm kind of...
She will get down there underneath the car and rip it apart with me, get underneath in the bilge in the boat, and do whatever and anything. So
Yeah.
she's just all around.
Oh,
so,
really?
you know,
Okay.
she's still a nerd.
Well, listen, we definitely went double over the time.
Yeah.
And
But-
and I don't care what
Still
you
not
said.
buying
I
the
believe
electric
we
car.
didn't bitch. We didn't bitch about it though.
Still not buying an electric
That's
car.
all right. You don't have to buy an electric car. It's just wave of the future. You can still ride on the fucking Hindenburg.
Dude,
There's
it's-
tickets for sale.
It's so cool.
And you know what? The Titanic, they got great rooms up top near where the orchestra's playing.
Right,
Listen,
they
if
play...
I could purchase a blimp, I will buy a blimp. That's like cool as shit.
There we go, man.
Anyway, Jim, I welcome you to drive your electric car. I'm excited about it.
I'm gonna get it.
But
I'm
please
gonna get
don't-
my electric car.
Well, please don't bump into anything, because all I hear is bad things about fires.
What do you mean fires?
There's like 2 Teslas that crashed in Miami, and they both went boom, instant flames, and killed the people
So
that
what?
were in them.
That's fine.
Oh yeah,
I'm not-
batteries and smartphones are doing the same thing.
Yeah, so
That's
just
just
don't
sitting in
blow
your
up,
pocket.
okay? Otherwise, drive whatever you want.
You know what? I always said if I'm gonna go, it's gonna be fucking. I'm gonna be blown up.
God, why
That's
would
it.
you say
I would-
that?
Why not?
So you could have your limbs tossed in pieces and have your wife
So what?
identify
When you're
your-
dead, you're dead. It doesn't matter. Well, you know what? That is wasteful. That is wasteful because I'm an organ donor.
Yeah.
You know what? I got to get one of those
not
Iron
good.
Man suits to protect my vital organs, like right around my torso, and maybe I need special glasses to
God,
protect my
imagine
eyes.
about all the harmful chemicals when those Teslas go up in flames with the lithium batteries and all the chemicals being released into the ozone.
Oh yeah, nothing worse. There's no fiery car crashes with internal combustion engines. We'd never seen those
They don't have
videos.
big lithium batteries in them.
I
They're a lot
know.
worse.
There's never an explosion
Oh,
with
goodness.
vehicles that crash, are there?
No, there's explosions.
The fire
Yeah.
and petroleum.
But the chemicals.
The chemicals of
The
fuel.
lithium
The
batteries
fuel.
are a hell of a lot worse.
No, but if you get fuel on your heart and your liver and something, they're not going to transplant that either. So that's all right. You don't quite get the big picture when it comes to that. I like it.
I am
I
so
like it.
far away from electrical fields.
Okay. Well,
Oh, goodness.
you can be. Okay, well, we'd
We
like to
have-
thank
we
you all
have
for
to
listening.
wrap
up.
For
We
the
have to
extent that
wrap
we
this
did
up.
go very long, and this is especially,
Time for another drink.
yeah, it is. I'm Jim, the Keys bartender. I'd like to thank Jenna Kelly and Tyler Kelly for haranguing me for an hour and 28 minutes. Thank
we love you, Jim.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
And not anything
Yeah.
like Everglades City, never. Didn't take a bite, but we got electric
That was
vehicles
like
with the
10
thing.
minutes, I think.
How the fuck did that come
I
about?
know, but I really had some cool shit to tell you about Everglades City, but never mind.
Well, we could talk about it next time.
Okay.
Actually, I think we're gonna have someone from Everglades City.
That would be
Uh,
fabulous.
yeah,
Was
someone
he a
that was-
crab fisherman? Because that's what...
That's where they did. They had the
Yes.
false bottoms
Okay,
and
so...
all that shit.
Ooh, stay tuned, stay tuned. That one's going to be fun.
Okay, are we playing anything right now? No, we're not. Let me get the music on, guys. Hey, listen, if you get that opportunity, if you're still fucking there, you assholes.
Please.
No.
Go buy a
Go-
fucking electric car.
Go get an electric car. No.
If you-
Leave. I apologize for calling you assholes. But you know what? I think I lost all our listeners.
Leave a review. Leave a
Leave a review.
about
Leave a
Jim's-
review.
About Jim's electric car.
No, not about the electric
On
car.
iTunes.
That's my opinion.
iTunes.
That's my opinion. In 5
iTunes.
years, I'll be proven that I'm right. I will be
iTunes,
proven when I'm right.
Spotify,
iTunes, Spotify,
Spreaker.
iHeartRadio.
Doesn't have to be about the podcast. You can drop your review on the
You
electric
can drop it.
vehicles,
Yeah,
too.
you
Just
know
make
what?
sure you hit Keys Bartender on
Oh,
one of those.
Oh, man. It's the wave of the future, man.
Wave of the future, man.
Yeah.
Marty McFly, if you're listening. from
Marty
up above,
McFly has nothing to do with it.
Where's my hoverboard?
There's no fucking hoverboard yet. Yet. There is a hoverboard. Okay. Goodbye. I'm turning off the fucking lights. You assholes.
It's all about